Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really plunging into something quite profound. It's just a single verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 47.
hmm
And it feels incredibly relevant, for today. Even though it gets quoted a lot, maybe sometimes it's a bit misunderstood.
That's absolutely right. And for this deep dive, we've gathered some, well, really fascinating stuff. There's this great online discussion where someone shared a really personal take on it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and we've also got some really insightful articles that properly dig into what it all means.
Okay, so our mission really is to get past those surface takes. We want to find the practical core. How can this ancient idea actually help you navigate, well, everything? Goals, expectations, that pressure to always be striving.
Exactly. Because it's not just dusty old philosophy, is it? When you look closer, there are some surprising angles. It's genuine guidance for the pressures we all feel today.
Okay, let's just lay the verse out there. The classic translation people hear is, you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions.
Spot on. And in Sanskrit, that's karmanyavadhikarase. Ma phaleshu karachana ma karmadadi turmate sangosa karmani.
Right. So breaking that down, the analyses we looked at split it into like 4 parts. First, karmani is the adhikaraste, your authority, your control. It's only over the action itself. Is that right?
Precisely. Then ma phaleshu karachana. That means never over the results.
Never over the results. Okay. Then makarma phaletu buha. Don't let the results be the only reason you're doing it. Your sole motivation.
Yeah, don't be driven by the results. And the last bit, mati sagutsva karmani. Don't get attached to an action. Don't just throw your hands up.
Okay. So that first line, right to action, not to its fruits, that's the one everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our sources, so that Reddit thread you mentioned, kicked off with someone saying how, meditating on this verse daily just completely changed things for them. They talked about finding clarity, a real sense of purpose, being able to just focus on doing good work, hard work, finding joy in the process without getting all twisted up about the outcome, a kind of peace and gratitude.
Wow, that's a powerful personal testimony, isn't it? Shows what's possible.
Yeah. But then right away in the same thread, you see the flip side. Someone jumps in, pretty cynical view, actually, comparing it to HR corporate speak.
Ah, I saw that. Work hard, but don't expect to get paid for it or something.
Yeah, exactly. Don't expect a bonus. And you can see why someone might think that, but it's such a common misreading.
It really is. And it's so important to get this right. The verse absolutely does not mean work for free or just don't care about what happens. That misses the entire point.
Right. It's not saying ignore results or don't have goals. The actual insight, according to these texts, is about understanding the limit, the boundary of your actual control.
Precisely. You have free will. That's your purushartha.
Yeah.
But it applies to choosing the action. You decide. Do it, don't do it differently. That's your zone.
But the result, the karma phala,
That's not solely in your hands, because the outcomes this wisdom tells us, they unfold according to these impartial, universal laws. You could call them laws of nature, cause and effect.
Yeah.
The sources often say Ishvara's laws. They work regardless of what you personally want or wish for.
Once you frame it like that, you see it everywhere. Like trying to catch a bus. That example came up.
Yeah.
You decide to run for it. That's your action, your effort. But catching it, that depends on, well, loads of things you don't control. Did the bus leave early? Is there sudden traffic? Did you trip?
Or think about a really skilled surgeon. They perform the operation, the action, perfectly.
Yeah.
With total focus, immense skill.
Right.
But can they guarantee the patient recovers fully? No. The outcome still depends on the patient's body. Hidden factors, maybe an unexpected reaction.
Right.
Stuff beyond the surgeon's direct control.
Yeah, I like the simple one they mention. Dropping a cup.
Yeah.
You choose to let go. That's the action. But once it's falling, gravity takes over. Physics. Those are the universal laws. You can't just wish it to float gently onto the table. How it lands isn't up to your wish in that moment.
Exactly. And even within the Gita's own story, Krishna himself negotiates with Duryodhana. He tries for peace.
Right. He doesn't just force the outcome.
No, even divine will seems to operate within this framework. The outcome unfolds through the interaction of choices and these larger laws.
So the really key distinction here is, look, having goals, making plans, even hoping for certain outcomes, that's totally normal. It's what gets us moving.
Of course.
But this verse points to the illusion that we have total command over that final result. And believing in that illusion, that's where the trouble starts.
Which brings us right to it. Why is being attached to the outcome such a problem? Why is it so problematic?
This is where it gets really practical, I think. When you're completely invested in and attached to a specific outcome, your whole emotional world hangs on whether that exact thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
Tied to it. Yeah. And since life rarely goes exactly to plan, when things deviate, that attachment instantly creates suffering. You feel let down, frustrated, anxious, maybe even angry or resentful.
The sources really paint a picture of this. You get trapped. You either blame the world, I did everything right, it's unfair, or you turn it inwards, I'm just not good enough, fate's against me. It's like being what do they call it, a muddy vessel, just churning with emotions.
Yeah, that muddy vessel idea. And there was that great analogy from the Reddit thread, too, about holding someone else's phone.
Oh, yeah, tell that one.
Okay, so imagine you're holding a phone, but it's your friend's, not yours. Someone comes up and says, wow, amazing phone. And someone else says, oh, that thing's terrible.
Right.
Because you don't own it, those comments don't send you on these wild rides of joy or despair. You hear them, you register them, but there's a distance.
That's detachment right there.
Yeah.
Not indifference, not apathy, but that kind of healthy distance from the results of your actions. When you let go of that intense, I did this, so the result must be mine and exactly as I want it, you can stay much more centered, calm, whatever happens.
Yeah, a tranquil state. You're free from that emotional roller coaster tied to ownership or I am the doer of the outcome.
Okay, but then there's that crucial last part of the verse. Don't get attached to inaction. Madi sangas vakarmani.
Yes, this is so important. This teaching isn't a free pass to just give up or be lazy.
Definitely not. It's not saying, oh, well, since I can't guarantee the result, I might as well just, quit my job and sit around.
No, it's really the opposite. It stresses that even without total control over the outcome, you always have the choice to act. You still have duties, responsibilities, your svadharma, things you need to do, and you should do them well.
And this connects to the idea of intelligent action. Living intelligently, these texts suggest, isn't just about doing something blindly. It's about understanding where your choice actually lies and exploring all the options within your power, not just do or don't do.
Like that brief mention of King Dasharatha in the Ramayana example.
Right, facing that awful choice from Kaikeyi.
He felt trapped between two terrible outcomes, breaking his word or exiling Rama. Just despair.
But intelligent action suggests maybe he had other moves within his control before just accepting that binary. Could he have stalled, consulted others, talked to Partha maybe, or the council? Explored other ways to act within his power.
So it's about asking yourself, okay, where's my agency right now? What are all the things I could actually do here? What can I learn? And then, okay, now what's the best action I can take?
And crucially, this doesn't mean your actions don't matter for the outcome. They absolutely do. The quality of your action, your effort, your skill, it influences the result according to those same universal laws.
Right, it's not random.
No. Think garbage in, garbage out. Or maybe quality input, higher probability of quality output. Your skillful, focused action makes a good result more likely, even if it's not a 100% guarantee because of those other factors. Your effort counts.
So this detachment idea, it's really about mastering your inner response, isn't it? Your reaction to how things unfold, which is often unpredictable.
And that's where it becomes a path to something really significant. Genuine inner peace and freedom. The source is explicitly linked detachment to this. It's described not as being cold or uncaring, but as achieving a kind of balance.
Staying steady.
Yeah, staying steady amidst all the pulls of external events, fleeting emotions, endless desires.
And developing that inner stability, that resilience, it lets you face life's bumps and uncertainties with way more ease.
Absolutely. And that ease is inner peace, fundamentally. By practicing this kind of detachment, you start to find equanimity. That state where the ups and downs, pleasure, pain, success, failure, praise, blame, they don't throw you off balance quite so drastically.
Because your sense of worth isn't tied up in them anymore.
Exactly. The sources really stress this. True contentment, your real value, it comes from within. It's not dependent on getting that external validation or hitting that specific target. It's inherent.
And realizing that your worth is constant, regardless of outcomes, wow, that sounds incredibly liberating.
It is. It frees you from that constant grinding need to control everything. And that freedom can actually unlock more creativity, more spontaneity, more authenticity in what you do because you're acting less out of fear.
Okay, this sounds amazing, obviously, but how do you actually do it? How do you cultivate this detachment in real life? It sounds hard.
It is a practice, for sure. It takes conscious effort. But there are ways. One thing is, when you start something, consciously set your intention. Focus on the process, the effort, the quality of your action, rather than just laser focusing on the end result you want.
Okay, focus on the journey, not just the destination.
Kind of, yeah. And celebrate the small wins in the doing. Enjoy the process itself. And when there are setbacks, which there will be, try to learn from them without letting them crush you or make you feel like a total failure.
Mindfulness seems key here too, doesn't it?
Huge. Just noticing, becoming aware of when that feeling of attachment pops up, that clenching feeling around needing success or wanting approval or getting that thing. And when you notice it, just gently, consciously, try to release that grip.
Maybe looking back helps too. Reflecting on times when being super attached to an outcome actually caused you pain.
Definitely. Understanding your own patterns. I tend to get really anxious about this kind of result, just seeing it clearly without judging yourself for it.
And gratitude practice, does that fit in?
Absolutely. Cultivating gratitude for what you do have right now shifts your focus from what you feel is missing because some desired outcome hasn't happened yet. It grounds you in the present.
You know, the material also hinted that, well, applying this isn't always straightforward. It takes a certain emotional maturity. Sometimes our own stuff, fears, old conditioning makes letting go of control really, really difficult.
That's a very important point. It's not a magic wand. It's an ongoing practice. It requires discernment, honesty with yourself, and choosing again and again to apply this wisdom.
So let's bring it all together. This one verse, Gita 2.47. What's the core message for you listening right now?
It's really an invitation. An invitation to shift where you put your primary energy and your sense of control. Pour your focus into your actions. Do your duties skillfully with good intention.
But understand deeply that while your actions absolutely shape reality, the final results emerge from a much bigger web. Universal laws, other people's choices, things beyond your individual command.
And crucially, don't let that lack of total control paralyze you into inaction. Remember the power you do have. The power to choose how you act, how you respond. Look for the intelligent options, not just the obvious yes-no.
And make it the most transformative part. See this shift, this practice of detachment, not as giving up, but as stepping onto a path towards greater inner peace, resilience, and a more authentic kind of freedom in how you live.
So think about an area in your own life right now. Maybe it's work, maybe a relationship, maybe a personal project you care about. How might it change things if you consciously shifted your focus just a bit away from nailing the perfect outcome and more towards being fully present and skillful in the doing?
What anxieties, what weight of expectation could you maybe let go of, even just slightly, by embracing this idea?
It leaves us with a really potent question to mull over. If your true worth isn't ultimately defined by your external results, by achievements or failures, where do you find its source?
And building on that, what's one action, maybe even a small one, that you can take today, really throwing yourself into the doing of it while consciously practicing letting go of your tight grip on exactly how it has to turn out?